A beep boo, a beep, beep boo, a beep, beep boo. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Share screen. Push the button. Let me see here. All right, look at that right there. 7,002. Someone refund just $2 so we can get 7,000. Exactly. Um, just kidding. 101, 101 Dalmatians, 101 happy people, people who will be happy. Soon to be 102, I'm sure. I figured I'd stream a little bit because I never know quite how it works reaching the old audience. You know, my YouTube channel, it has 2,200 subscribers, but yeah, like none of them get notified. You don't know how many of them know or how many of them would want to back if they could, but this is a good one to get word out on because it's the part 2, which finishes the story. So let me see here. Um, yeah. So we're just kind of looking at it. Where and then this actual stream, what I kind of want to do is a little separate thing. But I'm going to go over some more of my inspirational pocketbook, which might be a book released with the Earthbound campaign, which that would the Grand Prix 3. You know, that would be like early 2026, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe squeeze it in um, late 2025. I don't know. One person watching. Say hi in the chat. I got a few last sips of coffee. I ate a bunch of raisins, and it immediately triggered what would have been a sugar crash. So I ate like more raisins. And I don't know, is that like bad? Is that what you're not supposed to do if you're like pre-diabetic? I think I'm self-diagnosed pre-diabetic, if you know what I'm saying. Like I get bad sugar crashes don't if I just eat sugar, it'll like sugar crash me. So I don't normally eat like dried fruit, although I just did. So then I guess what happened is then I ate. So then I don't really have a sugar crash, but I feel a little weird. I don't feel super good, and then I actually have a headache now, which is a bummer. So I'm like, crap. Note to self: just freaking whatever, not freaking dried fruits. So let me see here though. So yeah, the inspirational pocketbook. One thing I have to do is like organize it, and I haven't even figured out what the organization would be. That's what I should even type up a little bit. Let me see. I copy pasted this, so now I'm typing this way. I don't want to be typing like this. The black on white. Maybe right here. What is the organization? Did I write this down somewhere else? Can we scroll down? So we got writing hacks. We got tropes. We got a checklist. I mean, that's kind of all it is. Man, I wish I would have. I wonder if I did write it down somewhere. 2 people watching. We can try and start over. So I have it. Look, I forget how long the document is, but it's long. Oh, 38 pages. And not all of this will go in the book. The book will be a tiny little pocket book, but it's just going to be like a handful of lists that you can make do with what you want. So, what should it start with? Should it start with the checklist? Checklist being like, I have some, like, it would be like stakes. Like, have you set up your stakes? Checklist, like ticking clock. Have you set up your ticking clock? And ticking clock is like the broad definition where you can find some way to define it where every story kind of has one where you kind of measure. It's a way that you measure progress in the story. Actually, if you're reading a book, it's like turning the page and holding the book in your hand, so you know there's an end and you know you're making progress for every page that you read. That alone is a ticking clock. But every story should have something like that, some way to measure progress because it just helps with the whatever the psychology of like reading it or whatever. But yeah, so I wrote it down later, so I'm not going to go over here. But so it's like checklist though, and that would be just like a page or two. And I think you don't go into detail. Then I have like a tropes list. And that's pretty long and interesting and fun. Lots of it's like what gives you inspiration. So yeah, where does inspiration come from? For me, a lot of it is kind of a trying to develop a encyclopedic knowledge of tropes, and you can use them or go against them or whatever. But they're fun to know. There's certain kinds of tropes that will hold the entire story within them too. Like I think I wrote one down here. Trope of the day. Plan immediately goes horribly wrong beyond what anyone, including the audience, could ever imagine, but you still have one or two survivors. So that's like a whole story. Is kind of if you're using that trope, you can write a whole story. It could be a 20-page graphic novel. It could be 100 page. It could be 200 pages. Might be you might run out of material at like 1,000 pages unless you wanted to pack like tons and tons. But like an example that uses this is like Starship Troopers, for example. And I think, for Starship Troopers, this trope, it's actually just like 1/3 of the movie. It's one of the big set pieces where they get screwed like immediately really bad. Um, it actually kind of happens maybe twice even. The new video game that's called something Obscura 33, Plan Obscura 33 or whatever. The RPG, European RPG. That game, I watched some of that gameplay, and this happens there. 3 people watching say I have if you're in the chat. If you're watching, the link to Hotel Story is in the description. So check this out too. If you this is kind of what I'm selling. I'm gonna have it available for 2 months. So grab it while the getting's good. This finishes the story, and yeah. Um. So yeah. So yeah. What is this book that you hold in your hand? It's meant to help you with inspiration, the checklist, the tropes, and should the checklist go first? Maybe. And then I was going to say prompts, and quotes. And that's like almost it, maybe. Inspirational pocket list. Inspirational pocketbook. Checklist, tropes, prompts, quotes. Maybe I could put writing hacks in here. Tropes, writing hacks. Oops. So, part 1. I'll just say 1. I wonder if it'll let me list it. Three, 4. I like if it's just 5. Maybe it is just 5. So I might copy and paste stuff into this section. So 1, hold on, checklist. And then we'll make this, how do we do this? A title, a heading. Yeah, so then we can kind of come back to this. So what do we write for checklist? Writing hack. I was writing some stuff down recently, even about some of this. Kind of like it's just to scratch and how to approach stories and everything. characters an iconic quality that requires a B plot to resolve. See, I don't know if I'll give examples. Examples kind of like, it's almost going to be don't define it. That's part of the inspirational pocketbook. You get out of it what you want. It would be a companion piece to interactivity. Kind of my second nonfiction book release. Tropes versus cliches. See, like that would probably not be included. Don't care. Nobody believes in you, but I do. Why did I write that? That's kind of, I mean, that's like a psychology thing. So the checklist and the writing hack are like, they're similar too. Why do people care? Here, I'm going to write, let me see. I have my notebook that I wrote last night. I forget what I said. It's just some basic stuff. Yeah, I wrote itches, boost stakes with an oppressive tone, which don't ask me how exactly you do that, but I can imagine kind of like overbearing. I can think of stories that do that. I think Tower Dungeon kind of did that. That's what made me think of it. Uncomfortable. Yeah, it's like so like for a possible checklist, drag main character through hell. That's like an obvious one. So that would go in the checklist. Like, did you drag your main character through hell? If you didn't, and yeah, more and more I might write this, but the one thing I notice that I always hate, and if I'm doing any kind of like editing or story consulting kind of stuff, is I hate plot convenience. And I feel like I could sniff it out or see it immediately. And I can see it pretty good in my own writing. I like, knock on wood, I hope I don't have it too much of it, but you can tell if something needs to happen for the plot to continue. And I just hate that. So like I would rather read something where with a bad plot, quote unquote bad, that's not clever and that has no convenience to it, like say boring, even like a boring plot. Than like something clever with lots of crazy stuff happening if it's all convenient. They just need stuff to happen for the plot or whatever. Yeah, so what else did I write? Yeah, I've seen two examples. So this would be like a checklist thing. Checklist. Is your main character handicapped in some way? Handicapped? Not like handicapped, you know what I mean? But nerfed. I could say nerfed. I think nerfed works. Is bad guy buffed? So you want a bad guy at an advantage, main character at a disadvantage. That's another one I'm like, I feel like you pretty much almost would always want that. Like, you know, if you can fit that in, go for it. The only time you wouldn't is if it's not really a story that's like with a good guy and a bad guy kind of thing. But that always works and helps a ton. Now that you mentioned it, I might have to plug that into one of my stories, maybe. That's why it's useful, like, because I feel like the checklist, it should be pretty simple, but like you literally go down, like, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? You can do a redraft adding it. But yeah, so for example, I saw a movie called Apartment 7A, which is like a prequel to The Exorcist, but it starts with a dancer on stage and she like breaks her ankle on stage. And it's kind of horrific. It's a horror movie, you know, but so then they cut to 4 months later and she's still limping and she's trying to get work in New York. And she's at a huge disadvantage because she's limping, you know. from her terrible injury. And there's like she's kind of infamous for falling on stage. Like everyone knows who she is. So that's like a great intro to a character. You're totally rooting for them because they have this handicap or whatever. In that case, not like literal handicap, but they just are nerfed in some way. They're up against some shit. Then contrast that with like Alien Earth. They have the main girl in the beginning. She's handicapped, and then they implant her body into a like perfect Dragon Ball Z body that can like do anything. And so it's kind of the opposite. And I did notice, I was like, I don't give a shit about this girl because it's the opposite. Instead of nerfing her, they like buffed her and she has no, quality that she's up against, no negative handicap. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. I feel that. Good. Did you question mark, did you nerf your main character? Um, and if you do that, it will automatically create a good scene. That was something, this could be in the writing hack thing. Writing hack. If you have to do a paint by numbers scene or like a plug and play. Plug and play. Example. It would be good if I can think of an example. I'll do that later. Ask yourself, how do I make this the best blank scene ever? Maybe by adding a monkey, adding an explosion. Like what would be like, say it's like a scene with, like say like a scene like a revenge setup scene or something like so. For example, revenge setup scene. You know the bad guy is gonna kill the good guy's friend. How do you make this the best revenge setup scene ever? I think what one was good like that. When Goose dies in Mad Max, the original Mad Max. I haven't seen it in years. There's a guy named Goose. I think doesn't shit. What's Top Gun has a guy named Goose too. Checklist. Does your story have a guy named Goose? Name a guy Goose. And then to make that scene good, you would the things you could do, you would have to make it a so close yet so far away. It's like that could be a checklist thing. And then you could also kind of like make good guys friend super legit, which is also kind of so close yet so far away. The more you can push that, the more it's gonna slap. And you can make the bad guy win by cheating. Just some psychological shit. You know what one does this great? The Patriot. I don't know. You guys remember what's his face? Joker. Heath Ledger. He actually beats the bad guy, but the bad guy sucker stabs him, and then he dies. And it's checking all these lists because that hits the so close yet so far away. That's like the irony in the audience's mind when they're like, Heath literally won. Heath had the guy. He had won, and then the guy cheated. This is so freaking ridiculous. You get so pissed, which is good. That's what you want. So you want to be checking those boxes or whatever. I wonder if this is like a subsection of checklist. So like checklist within scenes. Like can a scene, like can you introduce the so close yet so far away? You like almost want to do that like Do you want to do that for everything? Always? You can introduce the Spielbergian suspense versus Hitchcockian suspense. That's like Spielbergian suspense is like teasing. Hitchcockian suspense is like more just like layering the information in a way to just build classic suspense. Um, and I don't know if I should even explain that in the book. Should I just say? I don't know. My rule of explaining. Three people watching. How's it going, everyone? Hotel Story 1 and 2. Have you guys looked at this? Has anyone checked this out? Is everyone who watches my channel already backed? The story is a lot of fun. 240 pages, the full graphic novel. This is up there, possibly my favorite book that I've done. This is a collaboration with Jared. But yeah, I love it. And we're thinking about what else we can do with it. Like, I kind of want to get it, maybe published for reels or something. I think it will have a good word of mouth when it gets out there and people start reading it. But we've got to get those backers up. So give it a look if you so inclined. Say hi if you're in the chat. Back to some of this. Checklist. Is there a checklist of like first 5 minutes, like unhinged? What's up, man? Crenshaw, you did back. I remember. Thanks for backing. Unhinged, what's up? 4 people watching. People are filtering in a little bit. How's it going, everyone? We're looking at this inspirational pocketbook thing. So, what is I going to say? Some about this? I wonder if there's a checklist that has to do with the opening, but I don't know. I'm trying to think like some of the stuff I've been writing down in my journal. I know this is one thing this is a random thing, but I don't know if this is a checklist or a hack, but if you have, it's kind of a irony layering info thing, but 2 characters and the audience knows they should get along, but they don't know that yet because they don't fully know each other yet. That's just classic addiction. That works for like rom-coms, but it could work for Friends too. Classic addiction. The audience will be rooting for them to hook up. And that's like, yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, easy enough to kind of like set up, basically. Crenshaw. Maybe I got to do a short review of part 1. Yeah, I like when you do those. I don't know. Have you done more of those? I haven't seen them in a few months, but those are fun, Crenshaw. Good shorts. Yeah, because I think people liked Hotel Story 1 a lot, but it didn't get reviewed too much. And the reviews definitely help. See, this is us scheming. We might as well be in a bunker with low light, 1 tabletop light above us, and we're like scheming to like spread the word on Hotel Story. Yeah, so the list, we could say genres and subgenres, but that kind of goes with tropes. Prompts. That would make it 6 things though. And we could do stuff with scenes that kind of goes with tropes. That is that is useful and fun, the genres and subgenres. So maybe that now makes me want to think. I wish there was like 7 or something though. What would the last thing be? So the checklist. So what I got to do to make this book, I got to go through this 38-page document, find everything that's a checklist, copy and paste it here, then make a subsection tropes, find the tropes, copy and paste them, then the prompts. Because it's just been like a journal. I've been writing it as things come up. So we'll scroll down a bit. But yeah, so like, I don't know if this could go under genres, and this is possibly inspirational, but I don't know if we need this of just like writing down environments, types of architecture. That would almost be like a 7th thing if I wanted to include some of this. Some of this would pop up, like something apocalypse would be in a subgenre. The maze of liminal attics from the trial. That is inspirational. Liminal aesthetics, that's the same thing. These are like types of aesthetics. And I don't know, I probably won't include these because stakes are the most important. So the checklist. So that might be number 1, stakes. And then what does the character want? Like I won't say are the most important stakes to define by answering. I'll just say stakes. What does the character want? What happens if they don't get it? Success or failure. You kind of have a story going if you set that up. Unexpected reversal. I don't know what I. So here's the actual checklist that I originally wrote. Checklist. Does your story unlock freedom? No agenda. Agenda is the opposite of freedom. So I don't know how much I want to write about this. Like I could say no agenda. I want to leave it open to interpretation. But yeah, like if your story is like, if it, you can think of like, yeah, if it's locked into what it has to do because it painted itself into a corner. This is like a lot of woke stuff is like this. Like it can't even be free because it has to be like propaganda is like that. So is your story free? Like are you free? Yeah. Vision, confidence, outside the box. Did you aura farm every character? I mean, seriously, that's kind of hilarious. Do they get like give your characters good intros? You know, give them something to do, give them good scenes. And then this would go within the hacks, I think. One iconic personality trait that will need a resolution. But I could write this the charge. Is there a charge between the characters? It could be, and so like if you say there's a charge, and you're like, oh, like you mean like a romantic charge? I'm like, I guess, but so then the romantic charge, it's not like they. I mean that the most basic level is say it's a guy and a girl, and they both think each other is hot. And you could write that scene, but that wouldn't be that good. The actual romantic charge, if you want a romantic charge, I think would be a little bit what we were talking about earlier, where like they actually don't like each other, but the audience knows that they actually would be perfect for each other if they would just give each other a chance, but they've gotten off on the wrong foot, blah, 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 blah. That would charge it. So the charge comes from what the audience knows that the characters don't. That's like interactivity. That's interactivity. Boop, 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 boop. Crenshaw, I've been lazy about it. Well, yeah, they're good format though. Like they're in shorts and they have good audio and you talk fast and like they have a chance that they feel like they could go viral. Some stuff you see, you're like, oh, this would never even go viral because it's not on the basic level of, if the person is like talking too slow or audio is bad or something like that. Cool that you got him at that level. You've got male dynamic. Yeah, yeah, they do that and you got male. I mean, I feel like they do it in like everything because it's awesome. That's a good example. Do the good guys have a handicap and the bad guys have an advantage? And that could also be like hacks, like give your good guy a handicap, give your bad guy an advantage. And I would like, I probably would write it in both because that's a good one you want to drive home. Stakes, build up, tension, oppression. I'm gonna write oppressive. Spielbergian suspense. The tease. Do you tease? What does tease mean? So like, teasing means the audience knows what's coming, and they know what they want, but you're not even giving it to them yet. And that kind of counterintuitively totally works with that audience psychology thing. As long as you do eventually give it to them, they actually want to be teased. Like the audience actually wouldn't want you to, if you were like, hey, you want to see a giant robot fight a giant dinosaur? And they're like, fuck yeah, dude. You're like, here you go. And you give it to them. They're like, oh, okay. Then they take it for granted. But if you're like, hey, you want to see a giant robot fight a giant dinosaur? And they're like, fuck yeah, dude. And you're like, okay, it's coming. You just fucking wait. You got to nag the audience. You just fucking wait, audience. All right, maybe it'll happen if you're a good boy, audience. Some awareness of what the audience wants. You can lead that play that tease it, the promise, tease badass shit. Yeah, so I gotta like rewrite this so it's not sentences really, but this is kind of what we're all talking about. The ticking clock doesn't have to be, and this information, like it doesn't have to be time. That is in the interactivity book. So this would be a companion piece to interactivity. I would say you really should read interactivity for this to get full effect. And then maybe we just say ticking clock. And some people might not get it because, yeah, if it's like, well, yeah, I get ticking clock, but not every story has a ticking clock. I'm like, no, the way we're talking about it, pretty much every freaking story has a ticking clock. I don't know. Let me see. Crenshaw. Speaking of audio, you got some popping going on. Here's my mic. Let me see. It's got a pop mask. Like if I go pop, is it turned? Yeah, it's turned all the way up. I don't know. Even this mic, I think this might have been like a $50 mic. I'm like, shit, I got to get like $100 mic or something. Or for a while, I bought a $20 mic from Walmart. That was like a waste of money. That was the worst piece of crap ever. Basically, didn't do anything. Yeah, give your good guy a handicap, give him an obstacle. Yeah, it's fun how that is kind of pretty simple, but it works. Out of focus, chaos to focus. See, I don't know if that's a checklist. That might be like a hack or a subgenre. Unfolding moments. This changes everything. That absolutely should be in the checklist. Two-tier story. I mean, yeah, not every story necessarily needs that. I feel like a ton of them do. Like the one that maybe doesn't is like the detective story where you literally just stay with one guy the whole time. But even that, they might find ways to have that have two kind of thing. Obvious things, other things are going on, but you just don't see it. So even in that sense, But yeah, two-tier story, obviously, even you're following the good guy and the bad guy. But yeah, if you're following a B plot, anything like that, two-tier story. One that I really like is the way Star Trek does it. A lot of times, the original series, they would have like a plot going on the planet with like a landing crew, and then a plot going on the ship in orbit. And the ship might be like stranded and losing orbit slowly, where it will burn up in the atmosphere in like 24 hours. So then you got your ticking clock, blah blah blah. Like that stuff is great. Intercut two tier, those are like the same thing. Ticking clock, I wrote it up again. Tension ratchets up. Mel Gibson quote, I like to tighten the screws. See, so that would be in the quotes section. Tension ratcheting up. You obviously want to do that. I wonder if there's like tricks or easy ways to do that. I don't know. Any writing hacks? That's one where you save and it's like, how do you actually do it? Some of it happens naturally. If you have your ticking clock, the tension is going to ratchet up naturally. So I don't know if that's worth writing or not. Shadowpunk, what's up? Sulu was freezing down on the planet with a dog in a furry suit. Yeah, in that case, that would be the ticking clock. He's gonna freeze. Then on the ship, they have to deal with it. That stuff's great. 7 people watching. How's it going, everyone? Everyone, Hotel Story 2 right here. Check it out if you haven't. Consider backing. This completes the story 1 and 2, 240-page graphic novel. How's the audio right now? Is it still popping a little bit? I feel like I might be talking around, like it pops here, obviously. If I talk around the pop blocker. But yeah, Hotel Story. If you like my stuff, you're gonna like this. That's part of it for show. This is it's a collaboration with Jared, but this is very much a Narwhal joint. It's a good companion piece to Earthbound, Foreign Agent, and Nosferatu, and the Narwhal shorts. Of all those, the thing it might be the best companion piece to is the Narwhal shorts, because those were also very collaborative. And Hotel Story is almost like it's just like a long epic short story. Like you could almost do like a shorter version of the story, but we just went like really big with it. It's not a mouth pop. It's like levels are too high and the mic is cutting out. All right, let me turn it down a little bit. So if I go, all right, I just turned it down like a little bit there. Try that. I kind of have to talk really close to the mic, then it should sound okay. The problem is if I get away like this, I don't think it might sound so good. But I'm going to try and stay close to the mic. How do you print a book? Yeah, a little choppy. Dang it. Audio. Is audio better now? Yeah, it's like trade sized, and I don't know. It's like, it can be as much as $10 per copy, which that is a lot, but you still make some profit, whatever. Luckily, knock on wood, but right now getting quotes for it, it's a fair bit less than that to print it. And if you print like in China, which I haven't done in a long time because it was too stressful, and actually I had one order like that didn't work out, and I just lost the money on it. That was terrible. That still haunts me and pisses me off if I think about it. But yeah, China you can get real cheap, but then I think even with like tariffs and stuff, it's still cheap. I'm not sure, but yeah. Hotel Story. It's a witch sacrificing an entire hotel, and then some people are trying to survive. Mass sacrifice. Okay, so what do we got? Moments. That's another one. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I kind of get it. I get you want moments, but what is a moment? One thing you're always trying to do with a story is have it kind of stick a little bit. I don't know. And like in Inception, that was one of a rare movie that I saw twice in movie theaters back in the day. And I remember specifically there's a part where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in a hallway and they lose gravity and he spins down the hallway and it looks so cool. That was why I saw it twice because I wanted to see that scene again or that shot, that moment was what brought me back. So you can build to a really good moment. Moments are defined by the build up. We could say that maybe. Moments defined by the build up, the context. Yeah, you want them rich with, we could say rich with context. That floating scene from Joseph Gordon-Levitt was a key image from the movie. Yeah, and they use it in the trailer and everything for sure. You stop popping and locking, maybe the popcorn will go away. I'm just reading what everyone's saying. No big deal. 6 people watching. Check out Hotel Story. No others. This was a. This is another one where I'm like, this one's good, but it takes too much explanation. But I've noticed this, and I'm trying to think who doesn't do it. Like I think uh, Hideo Kojima doesn't do it. And that's good. Like having others is bad in general. But and I was trying to see if there's like a trope, like a negative trope that has been written about. But yeah, so like if your others, a lot of times it's like the infinite robot army kind of thing. Like so, oh, we need an action scene. Uh, okay, robots attack. Insert, robot soldiers, and then you can have a little action scene. There's no context or stakes to that. There's no psychological impact to that at all. So even like the Foot Clan, although in the Foot Clan, that's what's cool about the movie is they made them not others. Do you know what I mean? So like, if the Foot Clan are just others, then it means like, yeah, they just are fodder in a video game to get beaten up. We can send millions of them at the turtles because we need that. So that's what the purpose they serve. But if you put that in a story, yeah, like that's story's gonna fall flat. But that's what's cool about the movie, yeah, is you get to see their hideout, you get to meet one kid, go through the initiation and everything. So it's actually like great. It's actually like awesome. So all you gotta do is take that others and then like dive into it a little bit. And there are lots of examples, yeah, like Foot Clan, the Cobra robot, you know, fodder for the GI Joes, um, orcs, bandits. This is in like lots of stories use like orcs that way. Um, I'll give you another example. It's like I was watching Red Dead Redemption 2 and it was like and like yeah, I was like, is there what do you call it? An exception to this rule? Obviously these are all exceptions. Like GI Joe is an exception, but I'm like it would be better if they like if it wasn't just mindless, robots to die in the hundreds just so they could have an action scene or whatever. But then you're like, okay, well, just make them human and then it's rated R. I'm like, they would kind of still be others at that point, but it's not like you want to jump in. Maybe you do, like, show them as characters or whatever. I don't know. Or at least know that they are. Like, you don't have to show and dive into their backstory to give the audience, to care about them or whatever. But you need to treat it like a situation where they are more like real people. Um, and actually, even like that, like I've noticed, like in a Western, like if you have, say, the bad guys are like, say it's like literally Indians, and if you have the Indians like the cowboys have guns, and if the Indians aren't like, if they're just like running at the cowboys and getting shot, like that, I don't like that. Like have them like go behind cover, have them actually be smart, like they have a life that they don't want to lose or whatever. Unless maybe like if they are like berserker, whatever, they're for their honor warrior tribe thing, then you would want to kind of show and set that up if you're going to show them like just run into death or whatever. But even then, I don't know if they'd be wanting to do that to just die like that. One of my favorite moment-based build-up is the dance in Angus. Go for it, Angus becomes such an emotional line because of the context. What is that? What is Angus? I haven't heard of that one. Crenshaw. I might check that out. Um, yeah, so it have self-preservation as a sense of group dynamics. I was going to give an example. Now I kind of forget about. But there you can think of a lot where one way or the other where it's done really well or where it's done not so well. Where it can, at the worst, it can kind of feel like plot convenience. Yeah, and I wrote that here too. So yeah, how do I put this is a kind of important one. I could maybe put it in the writer hack thing, so then I can explain it a little bit. Because I know others, in parentheses, like C, writer hack entry. Henry Bemis, what's up? Posting Hotel Story Part 2. Thanks, man. Yeah. World building, ecosystems, systems, culture, religion, rituals, economies. People have lived in this world, they've seen it all before. They're reacting to the reaction, which isn't much of a reaction sometimes. You could explain something to them about the world, think it would blow their mind, and they'd say, like, well, duh. Yeah. Again, so much explanation. I don't know how you put that in a small little thing, or that's kind of a writer's hack thing. Like a lot of stuff in your world, if it's like already happened before, like nothing's happening for the first time, that somehow makes it more realistic. But yeah, when I lived in Portland, it would freeze, and then the roots or whatever would get so brittle because they're shallow roots for these big trees everywhere along the road, and then the trees would fall because of like a big snow or freezing, plus the extra weight on the trees from the snow or whatever. So this one guy was walking, and I just kind of heard it because out my window, but huge tree falls super loud, smashes down right next to this guy as he's walking. He has his headphones on, and he doesn't notice until it's too late. But it slams like right next to him, so it doesn't hit him. It doesn't like kill him. It would have killed him, but it just right next to him. And he goes, "Oh shit!" Like that's how he says it too. He doesn't say like, "Ah." He just goes, "Shit." Oh shit. Safety net pulled away. That's a good checklist one. That's a possible handicap for the good guy, whatever. Any kind of safety net pulled away. Vague permanent foreshadowing from structure. Ticking clock. That's like just ticking clock. The sense of building. Okay, what does that mean? How do you do that? But maybe we should rethink about that. I'm sure there's ways. Setting up context. That's what, yeah, if you're doing that, then I think the audience will get that sense when you're setting up the context. Set the board. The strategy is the story. That is also like writer's hack, but that is a good way to get out of plot convenience. Just ask yourself, like, what would they do? What do they want? What would they do? Just, the plot is what they would do. What would they do? What would they do in that situation? And if it's boring, that's, that's not, who gives a crap? Like, they would do what they would do. If you're going to change it, that's you ruining the story, interactivity, that's kind of obvious one, but yeah. The only exit cut off. That's another one, kind of like the safety net. So I would put that in there. Even though in that case, now we're getting into the realm where you don't want to hit all the checks lists. It's not like I have to hit all these. These are all just good ones to hit if you can. Never say something and didn't do it. Pick one to show and imply the other. Yeah, maybe that would be a checklist thing. Did you avoid this? This is one of the rare kind of rules. You don't want to say something and then do it. That's a little bit like redundancy. It's like showing and telling at the same time. Show or tell. Don't show and tell at the same time. Avoid the hero's journey. That's a good little checklist. Did you avoid the hero's journey? It's okay if you include it. It's fine. The task at hand. I like this one. Task at hand is a good way to start a story. Any scene kind of should kind of have that though. Have like something going on. Like, just what are they doing? It can be a slice of life, but have that first, then comes to light. That's a good like structural thing. Could put that in a checklist. Develop the bad guy. Did you develop the bad guy? He's threatening, powerful, smart. Rising stakes, content. Good guys have a handicap. Modern checklist. I think this is maybe what I was thinking of recently, so I added some things. A sense of anything can happen within the rules of the sandbox. That's like freedom. Soldier caught behind enemy lines can walk into a house, steal any car, hide in any barn. Every house has a story. Every car has a story. Every barn has a story. There are pros and cons to whatever he does. That is a cool feeling. And that is something I would go for, but that's again like not every story can have that, but that's awesome. Crazy RPG concept, played super straight and emotional. Pull the rug immediately, totally screwed. I had written that down earlier. I like that one. So if it's under checklist, there could be, if I added another one to this, if we go up here. Oh, you know what? Oh, let's click here. It would be itches to scratch, I call it. So maybe we can add that too. And you finish with quotes. Should prompts go towards the bottom? Or it can go after hacks. Yeah, we'll think about that. Some of these would go under itches to scratch. Yeah, and each of these might just be like, it's a small book, so they'd be like one actual page could maybe fill like 5 pages. So at this point, it's like 35 pages. Like I might have like 50 quotes. That's actually high, but say I get 50 quotes. Yeah, that's like actually 10 pages, 10 quotes per page would be too much. This book is a tiny book, so it would actually be like 2 quotes per page probably. So say I had like 20 quotes, that's 10 pages. For the checklist, might have 10 on a page or even 5. And yeah, just flip through it. So we were down here though. We're getting close to an hour streaming, so I'll probably dip out pretty soon. But it helps to kind of go over this. Oh yeah, check out this chess quote. Whoever sees no other aim in the game than that of giving checkmate to one's opponent will never become a good chess player. Love that quote. That applies to everything. So say if you apply it to stories though, so you'd say like, whoever sees no other aim in the game than that of like, what? Getting to the end and having a big fun ending will never become a good storyteller. Endings are important, don't get me wrong, but it is all about it's the journey, not the destination. That kind of thing. Oh, but the other thing about this is this goes with journey, not the destination, but there's a huge element of self um entertainment here where a chess player, they get great satisfaction and fun from the little moments of a great game. They're kind of seeing it different than a viewer. And there's lots of, I forget the word, where you're just self entertaining though. And stories are like that too, I think. You just want to kind of self entertain yourself as you go. You want to have fun with it, with the storytelling process. Sound seems to have fixed itself. Yes. Well, Red, what's up? You're writing too nice. Oh, Angus is teen rom com, fat kid and the head cheerleader. All-time fave. Shoot, I got to see it. Is that like a 90s movie or 80s? I'm guessing one of those probably. Everything that happens in movies that is good happens by accident. That's all. That's such a good quote. So inspirational. Psychology sold soul to devil paradox. I don't know what that means. Vision of destiny and the spark to get there. How to get the most out of this book. See, I was going to put that. I don't know if I'll even put that, but I could. Keywords, those quotes, but nothing is explained. Figure it out yourself. Oh, yeah. So I could write that. That could be the intro. And this could also be the intro. And I had written some of this, but I think I'll cut some of this. This is like an intro about inspiration. How does the old master at 100 years of age and accomplished beyond all his wildest dreams find inspiration to tell a new story? What about the young writer just starting? His dreams are not even fully formed yet. How does he find inspiration to tell his story? That could be on the back cover. Actually, I might try that. Back cover. Publishing path to reach an audience. Amateurs discuss tactics, professionals discuss logistics. This is inspirational, but I don't know if I would include this. Because you can get, sometimes I get inspired by thinking of the last step of like reaching an audience, and that is what pumps me up. So it could be worth it. I got to think if I include that or not. That'd be 8 things to include. Write a screenplay, mail it to someone, draw a comic, make photocopies, submit to a competition. This example is like it could actually be anything. You just need an idea, and it doesn't even need to be a good idea. Crowdfunding, obviously, publish on the web, hand it out to conventions, professionals at a comic convention. I should have done more of that at Heroes Con. I'm an idiot. Other people's characters. See, some of this I don't think I'm going to include. I don't know if I'll even include this. So here's writing hacks. High concept. Yeah, we can go over these next week. I'll stream and go over the writing because we went over some of the checklists. That was actually kind of interesting. 8 people watching. Everyone, thanks for hanging out. If you're here, I'm curious if you've seen. Are you aware that I have a book crowdfunding? Have you backed it? Consider it if you haven't. At 101 backers so far. This is a full story now, complete 2 volumes, 240-page graphic novel. Me and Jared did it. Took us 4 years to make this book, and now it's done. We're excited. And it is a great read. It's a lot of fun. So I think no one will have no regrets here. People are gonna love it. I just can't wait to get it out. So, but yeah, the main name of the game is getting the word out, just letting people know. Comics Legend. I have an inspirational idea. You only have 1 year to live. What story are you going to tell? What message will you leave behind? Yeah, that's good too. That is a good way to think of it. Oh, movies from 95. Cool. Well, you guys, I might get out of here. But yeah, everyone just, be aware that this book is crowdfunding. If you, maybe you haven't backed it yet, but you're gonna, it's open for like another 40 days or 48 even. So there's time. But yeah, grab it. If you like my stuff, you'll love this one. This is a preeminent narwhal project, a huge narwhal joint collaboration with Jared, 240-page graphic novel, fully complete. You read them in one sitting and it's like watching a good movie, but obviously in graphic novel format. That's kind of my style that I try to go for. But yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. And I'm going to dip out. Catch you guys later.